Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bridge Walkers. We are so happy to be here and we're so grateful that you're here with us. Today, we're going to be talking about that rock bottom thing. We've all done it, we've all been there, and everybody has a different level of what rock bottom is. And some of us have hit a rock bottom and found out that wasn't rock bottom. We've hit another rock bottom. And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about, we're going to share our experiences. Dana and Rev and I have all had our rock bottom moments, and we're going to share with you our experiences and how we got out of it, how we recovered, how we learned from those experiences. That's a lot of what Bridge Walkers is about. That's what it was founded on. It was founded on walking that bridge from illness and imbalance, struggle, challenges to wholeness. And so we're going to really get down. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty and tell our stories. And we're going to open up if you guys want to share yours as well. Because sharing our stories is an important part of healing. And so it's important that you guys know that we are here supporting you and loving you and being a part of this. And so are you ready? Let's start with a prayer.
Yes.
And then we're going to have Rev Ned come on. He's going to talk about his video and a couple things he wants to talk about. We're going to get to do awesome Rev Ned video. And then we are going to move into our stories. And we get to have Dana stepping up to the plate first, which is so fun. He always likes to be in the background a little bit, and I'm dragging him into the foreground because he's so amazing, as both of these gentlemen are. And I'm so grateful to be here. So let's all take a nice deep breath. Let's pray ourselves into this super adventure. So in breathing in and breathing out, we just begin by calling in that sacred space that is within each and every one of us. Sacred and holy presence, I am. We don't need to reach outside of ourselves anymore. We have it all within. And we say, sacred and holy presence, I am, be with us. Beloved, hold us close, love us, and remind us of the greatness of you that is within each and every one of us and is within all things. Blessed, eternal, loving presence, let us feel you move within us like a great wind of knowing. Let the ancient presence becomes one with us, and let us receive this divine wisdom. Holy essence of pure love, I am. Bring the upwelling of your ever enduring essence into our hearts, into our minds, and into our lives. Presence of love, bring us from rock bottom into wholeness. Help us to find our strength. Help us to find the secrets of our own wisdom so that we can walk that road to wholeness in the right way. Let us know the power of love, of loving ourselves enough to know that rock bottom is not the destination, that rock bottom is simply a part of the journey. Help us to love ourselves in such a way that we use rock bottom to guide us into that wholeness, over that bridge, and that our destination is our wholeness, is our strength, is our wisdom. Let us know the power of your love and let that love lead the way in all of our actions. And beloved, within holy essence, sacred presence, I am. Thank you for the knowing and for the awakening of this love. Thank you that we now remember our holiness, that we deserve better, that we deserve more. Thank you now that we live our eternal loving presence. Thank you that I am is the wholeness. And thank you that we now know I am is the all that is. And when we say, beloved, I am, we align with that divine presence, however we believe in it, however we understand it. And we become whole. We become holy. Beloved, I am. Beloved, I am. Beloved, I am. A hope and amen. Mm. And Rev, you have a beautiful video for us. What have you conjured up for this time, my friend?
Well, first, I want to thank you for that amazing words and energies. And
Mm.
thank you. What an honor to be here with you and Dana Sparkle Ruse. It really is. It's just, and our so called staff meetings are amazing. They should probably be recorded and put out there. But that's an honor.
Some
Well,
of it might get us kicked off of YouTube, though.
there's where we went was Sycamore Bluffs Bridge. It's a county park, and we've done other Bridgewalker videos there, and I've done videos there for the RevNed Cosmic Interconnections. But being rock bottom, there's a famous author named Unknown, right? You've heard of Unknown. He's said a lot of things, and what you call rock bottom, I call a new birth, this author said. And so I was told by the watchers to go under the bridge, and we set up. We have a table, the computer, and I didn't play the background music because the water was really flowing, and the mic didn't pick it up that well. But we have this equipment, and we set up high, and the wife suggested, why don't we go down by the water level and get all the pieces of it's actually the old bridge, which I'll refer to in the video behind me, and be closer to the water. So she helped me get me down and all the equipment. And she said, I'm going to find me a holy rock. It's called a hag rock, which I have here. It's going to be hard to see. It's got a hole in it, the water people put in. So you got grandfather energy and the water energy. So you got masculine energy and feminine energy. And then she found this big one. That'll look good around Dana's neck. But the energies there was mystical. It was amazing. In the video, you'll see me right at the beginning going, because they were there. The watchers were right there. And she found some other things. Of course, we leave tobacco for thank yous for all of this. But she loves to go creaking when I'm up doing the videos. And it was just a very special time for us to be at Sycamore Bluffs. And I was very touched before, during filming, and afterwards. It was amazing.
Mm. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. All right. You guys are ready. Everybody take a nice deep breath. It's going to be good.
Hello, sacred ones. Thank you, Skyfuls, for being with us here on Bridgewalkers. Wonderful, loving, high energies to each and every one of you from here under the bridge at Sycamore Bluffs. This Bridgewalker is about HRB energies, hitting rock bottom and rising like the phoenix to walk on your authentic bridge that you came here to travel on, the bridge of transformation and wholeness. So many precious beings, when they hit rock bottom, are like these rocks and broken old pieces behind me of the old bridge that needed replaced. They wander around too long in the debris of their HRB energies and then fall and get cut and bruised in so many ways. Does HRB have a cosmic purpose? Darn tootin', galactic souls. Does HRB have a divine purpose for each one of us as we go through our HRBs? Yaparo doodle sunshine beings of the more. Here's Rev's version of www.org for you. Who.org. There is so much more to who you are, what you can do, and who you can become. The .org is original. The original you that you came here to be. Not what society dictates you need to be and do and become for them. Everyone has their own version of hitting rock bottom. Here's a power pondering point. Did you plan and organize your own HRB before you came into this life? There were oodles of divine doodles within you, like talents and abilities and gifts. There are untapped cosmic purposes, untapped potentials within your sparkling being. HRB are energies that is a school of much higher learning. If we have a better understanding of hitting rock bottom, we can maneuver through these challenging energies. On this Bridge Walkers, we will share some of our own hitting rock bottom energies. You know, the HRB of higher learning. If it was not for our HRB energies, think about it. We would not grow and expand and become like we came here to do. If everything went just honky-dory in our lives, we would not grow and expand and become. Our HRBs are foundational shifts that align us to our cosmic purpose and position us to discover and utilize our talents and abilities and gifts and expand our divine purposes and tap into our powerful potentials. Do you know a wonderful thing that happened to Rev on his way through the HRBs? Rev found out he does not know everything. I know very little, but that is great because what I do know, I can work on and expand, which leads to more cosmic understanding within me and increase my interconnections to beyond. The key for Rev, I became a student rather than a juror. Being a juror, one tends to linger in judging and condemning, and it limits true self-growth and expansion. Becoming a cosmic student of the universe brings incredible connections within us, which connects us to higher entities and energies beyond us that will guide us and nudge us on our path of the mystical more. Another thing HRB does for Rev is the foundation and growing of compassion, of pure love, compassion for other human beings, for creation at every level, loving myself in pure love. Pure love cleanses and maneuvers us to be on the bridge we are supposed to be, the one of wholeness. Pure love increases your eyesight of your heart thoughts and your head thoughts. Pure love expands our essence in incredible ways. This alone attracts higher beings and energies of love to us. Or maybe they were there all along, but we have the mystical vision now to be aware of them, and then to come to know them as they walk with us on our authentic bridge walking. In our HRBs, there's a wonderful way to go. Up. We move through the rubble and climb sometimes physically and mentally and emotionally, and the BSE, beyond spiritual energies, to our bridge. How many have said, raise your hand, I am more spiritual than religious? Well, Rev has said that. What if there's more beyond the spiritual? We have dragged that poor word spiritual through the mud and debris. It has all kinds of 3D energies attached to it. So the watchers have nudged Rev to share about the BSE, beyond spiritual energies. Amazing beings of the infinite more. How beautiful it is to know who we are, what we have access to within us and beyond us is phenomenally incredible Aru. Even if you're still sitting on the pile of HRB, know there is more for you. When we are in our HRB energies, there are gems just for us to discover about ourselves deep within us. It's like mining for divine diamonds deep within the divine shafts of ourselves. Yes, some of our shafts go very deep. We find all these divine diamonds within us. We unearth them in our eternal soul through moving in our HRBs. You know, a root meaning for diamond comes from the Greek word invincible. Hey, that sounds like you, beautiful being of the mystical more, invincible. Cosmic gift. Enjoy and be encouraged by this Bridgewalker program. Michele always has her wonderful wise wisdom to share, and Dana Sparkle Ruse has a song and the deep more for you, and Rev will be in this delightful mixture of energies. Yeparu, you are a sacred gift of creation, and we're so glad you're here to go sacred bridge walking with us. HRB has purpose and meaning in your journey. Beautiful, beautiful blessings to you. We're glad you're here.
Wow.
Good job.
Good job. It's so good. It's so
Had
good.
the rock people, the water people, the wife people.
The wife people. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. You know, Rev, you were saying something earlier about when you were doing the video and you kept looking off to the side. What was going on with that?
It was the watchers. And it's kind of interesting that I that was in the video, that when we start changing and becoming and moving away from our rock, hitting rock bottom and getting on the bridge of wholeness, for me, a lot of visitors started coming. More visitors. I've always had them, but were they always there? I just had the vision and the energies to experience them, see them. And that's what was going on. It's like, okay, I see you there. I see you there. But it was definitely the watchers, because I always say prayers before we start. And again, I work with the elements. So the water was there, and the rock people, and the earth, and the air. It was a phenomenal time to do this for every one of you. It was amazing.
It was so good because I could feel a presence there and I could feel the consciousness of the rocks. And so I wasn't sure if it was all one, and ultimately we know that it is, right? But it
Correct.
was so neat because you were talking about the watchers, and I could feel that presence and could feel like the rocks were watching too. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for doing these videos. And so I know that you take some treacherous kind of treks. Intrepid journeyer that you are. So
I even had Diane go look for her snake friend a couple of times we were there last time. There was it's actually a launching point for kayaks. And it was right by the launching point, the snake. It was cute. It wasn't quite as cute as Dana, but it had a cute smile. But we didn't find it. She didn't find it.
We can't compare cuteness to Dana, or nothing would ever be cute again.
Was its tongue as forked as mine?
So, Dina, tell us about your rock bottom.
Oh.
Tell us about your journey. Share with us and all of our beautiful people that are here. Because, you know, when we share our stories, you know, we're in support and love of others. And you have a beautiful story.
Yeah, it's a lot more interesting than I, like, I mean, I desired the cool things to happen in life, but sometimes sometimes it's got to kind of come in the form of disappointment first. And like there's a whole lot of sacredness to be discovered in that way. And I used to enjoy working on a production line. I had, but like I've had alternative experiences my whole life, but like none of it mattered because I was just I was doing my duty. I was occupied fully, and making the in a physical production sense, and analyzing that, thoroughly where possible for, improvement. That was one of the roles that I was given through Ford where I worked. We it just getting the employees to interact with the process is actually really that's where the rubber meets the road. And my generation was largely like the first generation where it's like, okay, we need this input, and these people, nobody but these people are can do it because they're the ones that are there. They're in the trenches, like our number crunchers can create some kind of artificial BS to snow their way through a Friday afternoon of negative production data, but like, let's really dig into why that had to be, like why what and that was where, us physical people, us little people, we earn our keep. We're the ones that we are the minions on the ground, saying, hey, that, like this is how things, this could be working if this was this and this was that, and and like lining that up. And it was good to watch. It was good to watch the shift in management throughout this process, actually. And it kind of like they had to back off their aggressive authority. They learned that the aggressive authority approach wasn't necessarily what was the most effective, and just asking people directly might get you a whole lot farther. And that was so like asking the right questions, that was what we were. That's what I was commercially trained to do, from a production perspective. And then like one day I was helping a buddy, and like this tree kind of like slid off its base and pile drive through my ankle joint, and then kept going. So it was like a hydraulic compression, several thousand pounds, that just right off the base, 3-foot drop straight, and then just kind of like kept on going. And I, there was quite some time where like I took about 4 years just to stand in under 15 minutes. That's how, because like nothing was really, if the ground wasn't soft, my skin would have gave and I'd have lost it. And and for quite a long time after that, like I still kind of wanted to, because like it felt useless, because because of the newfound condition it found itself, hydraulically pulverized. And it but at the same time, it sat me down. It sat me down. It keeps me down to some degree, more than up. And it ironically, it within 2 years of that injury, I found myself hanging out with some people in Sweat Lodge, and just learning the extent of these things, and the spiritual potential, more along the lines of spiritual potentials, and it was very far outside of my realm. I grew up a traditional Christian. I had alternative experiences that that kind of told me that there was more, and keep that loose rather than tight, and but like just be secure in who I am. And this not being able to stand for a long time, it pushed all the buttons of self-worth, and this I was no longer in a production capacity, but I was, it was just, it was more of a spiritual combustion capacity, process that needed to occur, to expand my horizons, because I was locked into this other machine network, and it definitely occupied my mind, how I thought, what I cared about, and next thing you know, like, that's not there no more, and it's not coming, it's not coming back. So what do you do? And like, pursue spirit, pursue the spirit, was all I could do. I didn't have a choice. I was sitting down no matter if I wanted to be or not. And I got a couple, almost a couple decades into that meditation under a tree without choice, and like, a lot of, it's one thing to make a little bit of time and get my to work it into your schedule, but when it works, but when it rules your schedule for all futures, you question all realities that were attached to the past, the present, and whatever's supposed to be coming in the future. You want to, it needs to get seen together in the right way. And we got to play our, those who are feeling it, that are playing in those those fabrics, they do need to come together, and support each other more, and teach and grow and learn, and everywhere I went, I learned more about myself as much as anything else, and nothing taught me more though than my time out west, because like that would never have been possible if I was still in a production capacity. Like, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to experience a lot of, traditions and cultures that are otherwise just, they're not televised for all the right reasons, and they're sacred, and you find out who you are when you're willing to make the sacrifices in respect to what needs to come next in our lives, and like the rock bottoms include, they do include closing doors, they do include sitting us down. Sometimes they include ongoing things, but like, oh my gosh, to be able to say the things I am now would not have occurred without such an immediate, forceful, blunt, traumatic, like full stop. Like, I mean, I was, the synthetic reality, it felt good, it was great, but like, full stop. What are you here for? You're here to know that you are a spirit, that you're a part of everything you choose to be. Where we allocate ourselves is where we are, and like, that's not just physical, it's spiritual alike. And we can be in several places, simultaneously, whether we want to or not. But the more that we're open for that, the more that the universe is willing to gift us these things. And I've seen so many sacred things, so within myself, within others, just within the context of getting back to original ceremonies, and supporting the sacred self, no commerciality attached, you know, like, and roadblocks are opportunities, and they're there because like maybe that's not our flow. And if that's okay, then we we find the one that is, because we are water, and we will do that, and let it it should purify on things, and that can be uncomfortable, and it should be uncomfortable, so this going out and to these ceremonies, they do practice self-sacrifice to what it's but it's just but it's for the people, and it's in a sacred way. It's not it's to create future blessings for their people. Self-sacrifice to create future blessings for our people. And I'm so blessed to have been able to have the opportunity to see and participate in ceremonies where that was like the beginning and end of each day, for the right reasons. And it's the ceremony it's technically it's 12 days, but it's more like 8. But it's a real solid 4 in the middle, like everybody, like you can feel while things are in motion, and everybody gets everybody comes away with what they need. It's like an active church service, but they're not using that word, that faith, or it's not this outside thing. It's a self internal purification that says, like, my people deserve better out of me. And when these bottoms happen, maybe that's our spirit saying, hey, we need better out of you. We need better out of you. And this, like this will be an uncomfortable transition of jumping off this cliff that we're asking you to do. But you know what? Like, we got you. There's nowhere that you can be that we ain't. We're like this relation is not a one-way street. It's not a one-way street. And we are part of that activation. This faith is not. It's not a religious thing. It's a consensual agreement through spiritual choice to decide what deserves to happen next. And like, I mean, we are manufacturing miracles through what we consent with. I've held spaces, and I've seen a lot of great things happen. And I'm grateful to be on that journey. It feels like I've been swimming in the deep end with megalodons, like right below me the whole time. But like, I'm still there, like either I'm I'm getting still enough to where I'm not like making the waters ripple or what. But like, that's we're here for that. We're here for that on this larger, broader level. We're here to anchor that better frequency that needs to replace the heavier of the past. And if our experiences need to include heaviness to envision a lighter future, yes, I sign up for that. Humanity, our consciousness needs it. It requires us to loosen up our grips on these boxes that we find ourselves in. And I'm always, I'm grateful. Grateful for that.
Well, I'm grateful for you, because you have been through so much, and it's brought you here. to this space where we can all be together and to share. And you're such a amazing human.
Well,
And thank you for sharing that.
Use mine.
Yes.
Thank you for
Yes.
sharing that. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine going through that. And it's that having those horrible experiences and getting back up and keep going, you know. And it we find out what we're made of. We find out what we're made of.
And we find out what we're capable of, that's beyond this body, because like this, I should have lost my foot, but the ground was soft. The ground was soft. Mother Earth was soft. This conscious, the consciousness that gave birth to my physicality. It said, "Nah, you ain't gonna lose that this day." And I am grateful for that, and it keeps each step. And through these ceremonies, like that's one of the primary things they say is each step is a prayer, and yeah, it can be good, it can be bad, and hey, there's a time and place for each.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dana. That
I
was
think it's
amazing.
very powerful, Dana, of having that connection with the tree when that happened years ago, and then being at ceremony with another tree.
The same size, the very
It's,
same size.
and it's amazing the story. You've told me several times. It's just like I just want to start crying because of the power thereof, of the tree people, and the cosmos working with you, through you, around you.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
there's so much there was so much for me to learn. And as that, like the tree, when the tree pile drive, like, went through there, and then it started spinning, and I had to do like this jump flip to, like, just try and keep that skin attached, and it did, but I looked, but by the time it's all said and done, like, I look down and here's this, like something's not facing the right way.
Oh,
And it's like, no, in like, what just happened here, and like, uh to get out west, and the next thing be participating in ceremonies where they are doing spinning, but also losing skin intentionally, like it's like this polar opposite, that said that it just, there's so much to learn, it was a polar opposite reality that I had, but like, it was not the opposite of the one I was already living per se. Like, it was more, like, allowed me to synchronize myself in a more spiritual manner by forcing me to sit down, and analyze that stuff, and injury, like, gee whiz, what else are you going to do now? And it's through those ceremonies, like, I've had some visits from, with some sacred spirits. It's forged these relations, um, that were already exist, that they were already in exist. They were already there, but, like, each time we're around, like, we forget, it's like, oh wow, um, and they just perpetuate stronger. And this, we're here to change this place, and the tree is it's like a tuning fork, to help us shift our frequencies.
yeah.
And it's the most magnificent, it's one of the most magnificent, ceremonies and journeys, that I've ever. I never would have had an opportunity unless traumatic injury like obliterated my previous lifestyle. I would never have an opportunity to just to greet the other side of me. You know, I had to work I worked for company, but like, you know, from the point of injury, uh, you know, there's an agreement direct with the all, and like it's good. It's there's a lot of humility, and by by the time it got done with me, I'm nothing like I used to be. There's not much left that's the same, but as our priorities shift towards this sacredness, like we, you know, we start spending our time on those sacred questions, you know, and anchoring in those things. And you know, whether you know, we're not whether we see these physical monuments out there in this world that, you know, leave behind in our name or not, like that's not the thing. You know, we're here to live through this heart space, and to anchor it here for everybody that needs it, because everybody needs it.
Absolutely.
Some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and we all walk through it in our own way. That's the thing. It's so cool. We all have our journey, and not any one person is the same. That's part of the power in sharing. You know, sharing the journey so we can see all the different ways.
Yeah, I'm grateful Lorelei does as much as
Yeah.
she does in that way to support all that stuff. I've been out of the loop for a little while, so I need to get back into her community.
Yeah, she's awesome. Thank you, Lorelei, for being here, and Luana too. And we got some other people watching, so we're so grateful for all of you here. Rev,
Yes.
do you want to share your story?
Sure.
Okay.
There's a quote I want to start with, and it's by Matt Haig, who's an author. And he wrote this: "The best thing about rock bottom is the rock part. You discover the solid bit of you, the bit that can't be broken down further, the thing that you might sentimentally call a soul. At our lowest, we find the solid ground of our foundation, and we can build ourselves anew." And the experience I was nudged by the watchers to share is the stroke. It was in July of 2021. Up to that point, I had chronic Lyme disease for 8 years with nerve damage, and made it very difficult to walk. And then I had the stroke. So I want to back up a few months from July to spring. In the spring of 2021, I remember being out near the back deck of Oneness, where I spent so much time every day. And I asked the cosmos, I want to take me deeper into pure love. Now, at that point, I had been teaching on pure love for 38 years and living. You would think this old hermit on the hill would have knew something about pure love. But I asked the cosmos. It was just like Diane asking for that hagstone, and she got one. And so on July 7th, the process started when my answer would come about taking me much deeper into pure love. That day, I had felt somewhat strange early on, and as the day went on, and I had a long nap, the wife noticed I just wasn't acting right. And we were at supper time, and my head was down. I looked like Eeyore, I guess. I wasn't Rev. And her being a nurse for many, 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 many years, for what, 44 years, she knew something was up. and she says, I'm taking you to the hospital. And she started getting the animals ready and the house ready because she knew we wouldn't be back that night. She knew it. And she's an amazing woman. Well, she has to be with me. Number one, she has to be an amazing woman. And while she was doing all this, she would come in and say, put this clean t-shirt on. Like your mother always taught you to have clean underwear and t-shirt when you go to the hospital. And I put it on and then took it off and put the soiled one on that I had on because I liked it better. I wasn't thinking about going to the hospital. I didn't know who I was.
Wow.
And she came back through and I put the shirt on. And then she gave me some clean underwear. She said, put these on. And she would find out later in the hospital, not too long, I just slipped them over the old underwear. I didn't take the other underwear off. I just thought that would be cool. I walked out of the house with 2 different color shoes on. I wear Crocs. I was just all discombobulated. But once I got clothed and went outside waiting for her to take me to the hospital, and I had my soiled t-shirt with me like a baby, I had it under my arm. I'll never forget that. Now, it's actually happened right behind me in this wall where these windows are at. And this dark energy, which I call reptilian energy, that I've dealt with several other times before, appeared as a reptilian. Picked me up, threw me down twice. I got a stone that I broke, my head broke on it. He had me in his arms the 3rd time. And this, some people say angelic being, but this was a very high density being with the energy bands on the back. Not of this, the energy was amazing. Words can't describe. And this darker reptilian energy left. That's very, very important. So I get to the hospital. I don't know who my family is. I don't know where I'm at. I have no idea what a clock is because they started asking me those first 3 days, who are you? Where are you at? I don't know. What time is it? And I said, I don't know. And they point up to this. I didn't even know it was a clock.
Wow.
I didn't know how to floss. I didn't really know how to shower. I couldn't text. I couldn't write. My words come out funny, which a lot of people tell me that anyway. My walking was even more poor than it was before that. And it took about the 3rd day, and I started thinking, which means I was starting to hit rock bottom because I thought, what if I don't get better? But I got better through chronic Lyme and through other things that have happened to me. And so I had alarms in the bed and the alarm in the chair by the window. And I was at the 5th floor, no other buildings. I could see straight to the north and the northwest, which is very important. The directions are very important. And since Kevin from Engage Reiki was checking up on me, and I was trying to write him a text. This is maybe day 5. And it took me about 15 minutes to write a short text. I couldn't do it. I didn't have the ability to do it. And then I hit delete or something, and it was very frustrating. And at that moment, it's like, man, I'm way worse off because I was starting to recognize my shape that I was in. It was really difficult to walk. So I had to go through all this therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, writing therapy. And the people, they were so positive, so beautiful. The doctors, it was just amazing. But when I'd be laying there in bed, I'd get these glimpses. Is this going to make me worse than what chronic Lyme did? I wasn't focusing on the negative, but it was like, when you're in that situation, it was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And it was like, but I felt comforted by the watchers. The family would come up. And this was during the sea stuff. So the family would come up and they were so supportive. The doctors were 5-star out of 5. They were amazing. The doctors were totally amazing. Uncle Dave came up, wasn't supposed to, but I don't know if he turned into something to get into the hospital and then became his self. He showed up in the room like shape shifting, but he came and just all these people encouraging me. So you had the watchers, you had the family, friends, and even the friends that are out there that were thinking and praying for me. And I was sitting in this chair looking out. I was listening to me and Lan on the computer. And this Merkaba appears at the window. And they have visited me in the past, but not in the way this one came. And I'm not going to waste too much time explaining it. But it was just a high density being, pure love. And I invited it in. It looked like a plant. 4 different plants, the number 4. And it came through the window and spent 1 hour with me. And remember, I can't get out of the chair because the alarm would go off, which I set it off several times. Just moving, not trying to be bad and get up. And I was in pure love. Now remember, I had taught on pure love for 38 years. Remember in the spring, I asked, I want to go deeper in pure love. This is my answer. It just shared the pure love just through energy. No words were spoken. None. Something happened within me, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And within an hour, about an hour, it departed the same way it came in. And I'm like, wow. And even at that moment, I could feel the atmosphere had changed. Because I've taught for years that we are thermostats, not thermometers. We can change the atmosphere where we're at and beyond. And the next 10, 15 minutes, the reptilian friend, there's 2 words that don't go together, came into the room. The one that I've dealt with physically several times, the one that was with me on my near-death experience, and the one that had thrown me down a few days before out here. I basically said, have a seat. I want to love on you. And I did. It was so powerful. And it was just like this pure love. The answer's coming from the spring when I asked, I want to go deeper into pure love. And within 10 or 15 minutes, it left. And love. And love. The next day, a chaplain came to visit me. And he first said, what's in this room? What's in this room? And while he was there visiting, one of my doctors, I called her Dr. Gold because in Hindu, her name meant gold. She was a practicing Hindu from India. She came in 20 minutes after the chaplain came in. She says, what's this energy? I said, Dr. Gold, it's pure love. She started crying. Every day she came in, she would cry. She knew it was something special because of her faith. And some other doctors would recognize it. Some other nurses would recognize this energy that happened. And from that point, I started getting better. I used to go to the gym all the time. And even during the first years of chronic Lyme, I'd go to the gym just so I could walk, not to be buff and all of that, which I ended up doing a lot of that. And I wanted to do my best on all these therapies, all these different therapies. I was doing therapy twice a day of all of these things. They just kept me busy, 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 busy. And with their positive energies, I kept progressing and progressing. Learning how to take a shower. I had to have a nurse show me how to take a shower the first 2 or 3 days. And then she'd be outside the door kind of peeking in just to make sure I was doing everything. And I couldn't stand up because I couldn't walk. So I had a chair there. But with the doctors put in my charts that I was a miracle, put it in my health charts, miracle, because I progressed after that visitation. I progressed so much. And I went home on the wife's birthday, 13 days after being in the hospital. And the next day I came home and I was on our 0 turn cutting grass, which the doctor told me not to do. But when we pulled in the driveway that day on her birthday, it was like, I can do this. I won't do it today, but I can do it. And I did it. And it was just there in the hospital for about 3 days. It was like rock bottom when I understood who I was, how far I had to go. And the greatest growth was in the pure love of that visitation, because I'd asked the cosmos, the source, I need to know how expanding is pure love. And I got a front row seat. It was quite amazing for me, and I think for everybody around me, how I progressed. And I'll share this. I was seeing just 2 or 3 months before the stroke a neurologist. We have a great young family female doctor who's very progressive. Mate, you're getting the age, you need this, you need a cardiologist. And she had this all planned. And on one of our follow-up visits with a neurologist, she says, I've been around strokes all my life. She says, I've never seen anything like you. I don't know what it was, but I know you had a stroke. And before she left, I said, Doc, do you believe in spiritual strokes? And her eyes got about that big when she left. And she's an amazing woman. She is an amazing woman. But it was like, okay, that even throws another a big spiritual monkey wrench into it. And it was just, I asked for it, and the universe and the cosmos gave what I asked for. Like trees.
Yep. Be careful what you ask for. What an amazing story, Rev. It's amazing what we can go through and experience, and the awakenings and the unfolding as we begin to recognize who we are and the power that we have, and how it becomes, rock bottom is a journey in and of itself, not the before and the after, but the actual there. It's not like it just happens, boom, and then you bounce out. Being on that bottom is part of that journey. It's part of that, the being there. It's part of the learning. And it's like, oh no, I don't like this, I'm out. But like with both of you guys, it was like something happened, but that was a rock bottom. But the rock bottom was a journey for a while. Your butt sits there on that rock bottom for a while. And that's where so much of the learning is. That's where so much of the understanding and the asking the questions too, asking those right questions, like you put it that way, Dana. And I love that. You have to ask the right questions. That's part of almost like what we experience that to learn. What are the right questions? What do we need to ask for? And the answers will come. They don't always come the way we want them to. Like, oh, Sometimes it's like a rock through your window. But wow.
To
Yeah,
our
somebody.
to our security, to our mental security blanket. It's or physically, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
uncomfortable nonetheless. But opportunities. Go ahead, sir.
I just was going to say that it's an honor for Rev to share that this evening with everybody out there and with you too. Now we have our Michelle, our awesomette.
Well, it's funny as you gentlemen were talking, I kind of knew what I was thinking about, but as you're talking, I'm having my own kind of revelation of that journey. And actually what I was going to say is this is going to be very different. And Luana, thank you so much. Luana saying these rock bottom stories are like, wow, I think I need to get myself together. Luana, you're perfect right where you are. Right where you are is perfect. That's something that we need to realize, because even if it's not together, it's still perfect. It's still perfect. And that's part of the reason why we're sharing these stories. Is in the rock bottom there is perfection. It is perfect. Painful, but it's perfect. It sucks, but
But
it's
they're anchor points for
perfect.
transformation, right?
Yep,
Rock bottom. The rocks at the bottom, they're anchor points for transformation,
yep,
and
absolutely,
There's,
absolutely. And
there's another chapter for your book, Dana.
those sharp rocks at the bottom, yeah, they're anchor points. Ow. Well, my story begins a long, long time ago. And my rock bottom was very literally a bottom. I had been in a relationship that went from being a fairly good relationship and became abusive. And towards the end of it, it became physically abusive. And I had children at the time, and I was still fairly young, and I had not been around anything like that before in my life. I had no point of reference into how to behave or what to do, or and being young, you just keep trying to fix it, right? I kept trying to fix it and kept staying, and got worse and worse and worse. And my rock bottom was being thrown down a flight of stairs and waking up at the bottom of the stairs with two children saying, "Are you dead, mommy? Are you dead? Oh my God, she's dead." And I just finally brought myself to open my eyes, and I had, you know, injured my back and all that. And prior to that, I'd just been living like you guys were talking about, just the life, the matrix, right? Doing the thing, living the life, going to work, raising the kids, trying to figure out what the HE double hockey sticks is going on in my life as it crumbles before me. But that landing there, and when I opened my eyes, I heard what my children were saying. I heard a voice in my head, and it said, "You're done. You're done." And it was like, okay, so, crawl up, get the act together, start going through the filing the paper to separate and get a divorce and get out of the situation. It was very powerful. And I think, in a way, I probably needed to wake up at the bottom of those stairs, because I'm not a quitter, never have been, and I'm stubborn as all get out. And I think it took that. And I actually, at one point, thanked my ex husband. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because I never would have changed. I never would have changed. I would have stuck through that thing probably until I was dead. And so I got up, started taking the motions, and went through the divorce, still just crawling. I'm still on rock bottom. I haven't recovered. I'm taking steps, but I'm still crawling on my belly on those rocks. And had moved around a couple times, which is super disruptive. It's like I never felt like I could get above water to get a breath, right? It was just survival, 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 survival. And I finally got to a point to where I woke up one morning and I looked up at the ceiling and I went, if this is all there is, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want to be here. The F this. I'm not doing this. And it was about 3 years later after the stairs. I stayed on that rock bottom for so long that I didn't want to live anymore. I was like, no, this is a useless, worthless, pointless experience. If this is what this is, F it, F it. And so I started a litany of every morning when I woke up, and I went, again, why am I here? This is stupid. And I started just beating on myself. I am worthless. I am pointless. I am valueless. I'm dumb, stupid, ugly, fat, the whole thing. And the only thing that really kept me from probably taking actions toward getting off this planet was I had children and I love them very much. And I thank them every day because they're why I'm still here. But it was probably a year of that, where I finally said, what do you want of me? Why am I here? What do you want of me? What do you want? And whoosh, that's when the change came. And it came so fast that I didn't even know what was going on. I had a neighbor who is a wonderful woman, and Tony, I will love you forever. And she gave me a book called from Paramahansa Yogananda. It's the autobiography of a yogi. And his journey of transformation changed my life. And I started having people come into my life. I had a young gentleman that came in, um, wonderful, wonderful young kid. Loved him to death. He introduced me to pranic healing. I had, some relationships going on. I had things that weren't working. And all of a sudden, things started just getting rid of. I had to move. I lost my boyfriend. I lost a couple of friends. My car broke down. I lost my job. Whoosh. And Spirit said, I want more of you. And I remember hearing that. I want more of you. I'm like, then quit taking everything away. It's like, no, this isn't what I want of you. This is what I want of you. And I was studying pranic healing at the time. And I was sitting there and I had this full on just download, upload of energy that literally felt like an electric shock through my body. And it woke up my third eye. It woke up the energy channels in my body. And when I went into the meditation and the 15 minutes later, I was a completely different person. And that's the only way I can describe it. And I knew at that point that my journey was the spiritual journey. It was like I had no question in my mind that my journey is a spiritual journey now, and that the experience of pranic healing and getting to meet Master Choa Koksui and who founded that, and be in his presence of this amazing master, and taking it seriously. I knew I had found something that was in alignment with my soul and who I was and what I was here to do. I didn't know what it was, but I knew what it was. But it was crawling all that time and being in so much pain and so much fear and so much anger. It's like, this is stupid. This waking up, looking at the popcorn on my ceiling, going, ah, you know, crawling out of bed, going to work. What am I doing? Just miserable. What do you want of me? Was the turning point. Now, did I bounce right up and be like, ta-da? No. It took a while because Spirit had some more work to do. Had to get rid of all those things that weren't working for me. The job, the car, which was a memory of the past too. It was cleaning that out. Some friends that were, let's party, let's party, let's party, let's party. It's like, no, that's got to go. Some other situations, someone that I was dating that was not, that was fairly toxic too, right? We repeat our experiences until we learn. And that spiritual foundation being there for me. And after all these things got pulled away, it was like, oh, it was like the shining light. Oh, it's like, oh, that's where to go. That's where to go to anchor. And I had beautiful Tony, who was living right next door. And I started working out with her. And she just had all these pearls of wisdom and just getting spiritually fed and spiritually fed and spiritually fed until finally one day I woke up and I literally said, I can breathe again. I can breathe again. I can breathe. And I realized at that point that there was hope. That desire to die was gone. That desire to, what he's called, get me off this planet was gone. I had found that spiritual anchor. And that in itself was a journey that was like, oop, fall down, whoop, fall down, whoop, fall down, you know. But that's how those things go. The rock bottoms become a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less because we learn and we grow. I learned and I grew as I went along, what works and what doesn't. And typically, when things weren't working for me, it's when I was not in alignment with my truth. It was typically when I started listening to other people tell me who I am, listening to other people, you need to do this. Don't drink that kind of water. It's going to make you sick. Oh, okay, I won't do that. Well, 3 months later, should have been drinking that water because now I'm sick. I ended up with appendicitis and getting horribly sick and injuring my hip and all kinds of stuff. I had a lot of stuff happen. But that turning point, that rock bottom, that moving into wholeness, that journey is probably about a 2-year journey, was so powerful in hindsight, but so painful going through it. And it lasted a long time. My rock bottom was a pit of rocks that I could not get out of. And I did hypnotherapy one time, and she said, visualize where you are in your life. And luckily, I'm good at visualizing. And she said, where are you? And I said, I'm at the bottom of a well. And she goes, oh, well, look up. Can you see the top? And I said, no. And she goes, and I could hear the concern in her voice. She was like, well, no. There's light up there. I said, no. The top of this well where I need to get out is so far up there, there is no light. There's no light there. And I felt that way for a long time. But the good news is, when you ask, it will be given. When you knock, the door will be opened. There are truths that are spoken in our ancient tomes of wisdom. And those are ones that were so important to me. Because I remember seeing a plaque with Jesus that says, knock and it shall be given, right? And I've always loved Jesus so much. And yet I wasn't really raised with that as the main focus. But that was another thing that started coming into my life more and more and more too, was just that dependency on this religious figure that I loved, not religiously, but as a being, as a master, as a soulmate, as a beloved. And that connection in that way happened through all of this too. And I just want everybody to know that it's important to understand that pain is something that we don't like, and anger and sorrow and all of that is at the underpinning of the pain. We don't like it, but it doesn't mean it's bad or it's wrong. It's a signpost. It's a signpost that it's time to pay attention. It's time to ask the questions. What is this? What is the purpose? What do you want? Show me the way. Who am I? Asking the questions. You'll get your answers. And even when you're not on rock bottom, that still works. If you're at the top of the hill, still ask those questions because there's always more. There's always greater. And as we keep asking the questions and keep opening up for the greater and the greater and the greater, we get shown these things. What we're doing here in this world is so small compared to who we truly are as these great spiritual beings, these great spiritual masters. And I'm so grateful for that main rock bottom that got me out of the mundane and hurled me tumbling over the sharp rocks into the the spiritual realms of awareness that I had no idea existed. I had no idea existed, and I'm I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful, and I'm grateful to be able to share this story with you guys too. I appreciate that. It's it's very different. Each of us, each of our stories are very different and different in the way that they're expressed and different in the way that they're experienced. And it's all sacred ground. It's all sacred ground. It's all holy ground. And anybody who's watching this, whether you're here live right now, so appreciate all you guys are watching it later. That pain is holy ground. Don't don't run away from it. Ask questions. Ask the questions. You will get answers. It's promised to you through your spiritual connection as a sacred, divine, holy being. You'll get your answers. Just listen. Just listen. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share.
That was most incredible. Thank you, Michele.
Thank you.
And you are welcome. Wow. Very, very powerful.
Whew. I feel like I need a nap. Nap time. See you later. Yeah, thank you, Luana. Luana's saying, I'm going to put that up there just for, so thank you. Yeah, Luana, it's so important, each and every one of you that are here. So important. We love you guys so much. It's why we do what we do. Is to be able to be here at this time and be able to share. And, we do, if anybody wants to share an insight, have a question, anything like that, we open up for questions or comments or anything. You guys, if you want to put them in the chat. And also, Dana, should we talk about www?
I don't know. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. All right. We have a surprise for you, but we can't tell you. Neener. We're working on it. We're working on it now. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be good, though. You guys are going to love it. You're going to love it. It'll be great. So, Dana now has a song for us to tie all this up into a beautiful bow. And I wanted to make a comment when we were, since I've been commenting for the last half hour it feels like, when we were talking about getting the show together, and we meet at least twice during between each show and get together, and we just have sacred space with each other. We just kind of let it flow, and we kind of dork around and be goofballs and laugh and giggle and stuff. And one of the things that we were talking about, and I don't remember who actually said this, and I think it was kind of a combination of everything, but I wanted to read this because I think it's really important for people to understand. And it says, false love, the matrix, right? This world, this creation, this matrix shows us a false love. And so often we hit our rock bottom because of the lack of that love, because we're seeking it in all these different places, in drugs and alcohol and in sex and toxic relationships, in abstinence, in loneliness, in anger, in fear and shame and guilt, in unforgiveness. We're seeking this love and we're seeking this divine love, and this matrix that we live in shows us this false love, and it creates distortion and confusion. And that's why that connection to spirit, whatever your spiritual center is, and we're not talking religion, and I know you guys know that, but in order to get out of that, you've got to get in alignment with something deeper within you. Not, and it doesn't have to be outside of you, right? We're talking about in you. What is in you? Where is your wisdom? And we were saying wholeness is true, pure love. And we're here together holding that space for all of us. And that's one thing that we're here to do, is to reflect back to you the pureness that you are, right? You can only be at the level that you're at, right? And when you come here to be with us, you reflect back to us the goodness within us, and we hope that we're reflecting that to you. And as you seek that wholeness through your rock bottom experiences, you find that true love. You separate from that matrix love, that one that causes the confusion. If you're ever doing anything, seeking anything, and you feel the confusion, it doesn't feel right. This, ooh, it's weird, but Johnny told me it's a good thing. Listen to yourself, because we can avoid some of those rock bottoms too. Even though they're good and they're great, we don't always have to go there, right? We want to seek that true love. And it's really found in loving the self, listening to yourself, being brave enough to say no and have boundaries, and being true to yourself, loving yourself first and foremost. Because what's out there is distortion and confusion. What's in here is truth. And all of you have been through rock bottoms and they hurt. But we can start avoiding those. We can start manifesting something better than that through being in alignment with ourselves and who we are, and listening to our guts, right? Listening to our heart. So I just wanted to share that, because that's some of the stuff that comes out when Rev Ned is talking about. We should record our staff meeting. We call it the Bridgewalker staff meeting. We're staff now. Now, the next, all we need are cats to make sure that we, as staff, are do what we're supposed to do. Oh, and also the other thing, really quick, Rev Ned, I know you're going to say something. The distortions of false love puts love always in the future too. I'm going to get love. I'm going to have love. That's part of the distortions. Love is something you need to get. And what the truth is love is something that you already are and that you already have. And it's really important. And that's why it's so important that you begin to pay attention to your I am statements and make sure that they validate who you truly are. And if you're not feeling like you are love, or you are peace, or you are beautiful, you are holy, that's okay. But say it anyways. I am holy. I am love. I am loved. Because it's amazing that truth will begin to ring and shine, and all of a sudden be like, ooh, I am love. Might take a while, but say it, do it anyways. You've done it the other way. Try it this way and see if it works for you. See if it works. So I'm going to leave you guys with that little nugget of wisdom from Bridgewalker staff meetings.
Before Dana Sparkles sings, I have three things. One, I wanted to tell everybody that tomorrow is Michelle's birthday, and she'll be 20 years old. And on
28 again.
I was going to say that, but I just went, oh, but. And on the 21st is Dana's anniversary. And then right
21st?
there, 21st?
21st.
On the 21st, on the 21st. Wow. That's powerful. And in the middle there, like midnight on the 20th of 21, right down by a Civil War battlefield, I had a huge transformation. On those are like midnight on the 20th or going into early morning. I was reading a book on a picnic table by Coleman Lantern. Shane, our baby, and Diane were in the tent. We were right down the road from Stonewall Jackson, who played a key role in who I would become.
Wow.
And the third thing I want to say is, I don't cry. Sitting Bull knew what rock bottom was. He was a political leader, spiritual leader. And he's the one that brought Dana and I together in very, very sacred ways. And I just wanted to share that before he sings.
Thank you. Thank you. And really quick, let's all take a nice deep breath before we move into that such sacred experience of Dana singing us out. And let's just all take a nice deep breath and just feel our hearts. Just feel our hearts all together here. You know, whether you're watching live or watching it later, we're all one. We're all in this together. When you experience a rock bottom, we all feel that a little bit. And when you experience the success and the freedom from that, when you learn those lessons, when you learn and grow, become wiser and greater, when you begin to remember who you are, we all celebrate with you. We're all part of that together too. And so I want to just take a moment and just thank every single bit of life. And I want to thank the rock bottoms and the ecstatic highs and all of the in betweens that each and every one of us have experienced. And we just say, Beloved Holy Presence, I am. Thank you. Thank you for all of it. It is sacred and holy ground, and we honor our journey. We honor those empty pits, those rock bottoms, those painful things. We honor the bruises and the cuts. We honor the confusion, and the anger, and the fear. We honor it all. We honor it all. And we honor the freedom and the wisdom and the remembering. We honor the love. Oh, we just say thank you, thank you, thank you for the entire experience. And I hope and amen.
Let's honor some stones. I think we've done this one. We may have done this one before, but it's a sacred stone. Stone song, and
Mm.
you know, rocks are created through density. You know, they're byproducts of it, products of it, really. And they manufacture all the, you know, all spectrums, you know, for all realities, uh, given their own natural boundaries. Um, those stones, uh, and sweat lodge. What, you know, when we had sweat, when some cultures have sweat lodges, they heat up the stones. They have certain amounts, sacred amounts, and they heat them up till they're red hot, and then they bring them in a, you know, certain amounts at a time into a lodge and pour water on them, and you know, typically by the time they're, and you know, there's spirits in them stones. um and you know, they're there to teach us hard lessons, and for us to let go of things that we're ready to, so that way we can step into that higher frequency where that density is not so prevalent. It's down below a little bit, but like we needed it, and like, so honoring that, pouring water on them red hot stones, it creates a whoosh, you know, and it floods the space. It's fully dark, and you just, next thing you know, you're enveloped with this little cloud that just you know, just appears out of that density of that, out of that, you know, that we prepared and put into that stone in a sacred way with this sacred fire, um, and giving thanks to it. So this song, it's you know, lyrics are, it's coming around. It's now a stone in a sacred manner. It's, it's coming around, a stone in a sacred manner, and we not only experience stones from a victim sense, like we are stones from the higher perspective, from a higher perspective sense. And this process of honoring that density, it graciously places us in the elevated spaces, to accept the blessings and the lessons, and without those repetition cycles continuing. So we're gonna sing that one, and while I'm singing it, we're gonna thank our difficulties, because they make us who we need to be, where we need to be at, and nothing else can define that except our own personal circumstances, and the sacredness we wish to attach to that every circumstance as it presents itself. So we're gonna start with that one, and then I'm gonna sing a thank you song. So let me slide this over here a little bit. Trying to get in my. Oh, go away, oh, go away, oh, go away, hey, oh, okay, okay, now, oh, go away, oh, go away, oh, go away, low. Oh, go away, low. Oh, go away, low. Hey, oh, okay, okay, now. Oh, go away, low. Oh, go away, low. Oh, go away, low. Oh, go away, low. Oh, go away, Trong ga say la pay la ma pay la ma pay la ma Wei zhou zan nei wa ma ya kong chang pei la ma ya lu Zhang ka shui la pei la ma ya pei la ma ya pei la ma ya lu Wei zhou zan nei wa ma ya kong cha pei la ma ya lu Zhang ka shui la pei la ma ya pei la ma ya pei la ma ya Wei zhou zan nei wa ma ya kong cha pei la ma ya Oh.
Oh. Thank you so much. The songs just touch so deeply, Dina.
Sell us into the next space we're ready for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So beautiful. We love you all. Thank you all so much for being here. We will be back next month. I think we're doing October. Do, do, do.
Thank you,
I think it's
Luann.
going to be the 18th. No, the 17th. So we'll be back. Everybody enjoy the fall equinox where time, space, consciousness all has an opportunity to balance and find that wholeness. And we just love you all so much. We send you blessings and prayers. And we wish only the best for you. So thank you. Thank you, Rev and Dina, for being my brothers. And just, it's such an honor to sit here with the two of you. Such an honor. There's no words. Even saying that is too limiting. mm, mm. So, everybody enjoy yourself. Be good for fall equinox. And be good for my birthday tomorrow, too, because shenanigans do tend to happen. I love you guys. Everybody take care. We'll see you next month. And please make sure to subscribe and follow and put some comments. If you guys have questions or anything you want to ask about, if you're watching this later, I always check. And if there's any comments, I always come in and take care of you guys. So we love you. Mwah. Stay sparkly.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
you too.
Toodles.